Welcome back to another episode of Vegas Views. I'm here by myself today. I am Dawn Sullivan, if you don't know me. So we're going to get started today with a little Q&A. So if you guys have logged on and you want to ask me any questions, please go ahead. I'm here. I'm open all morning to answer your questions, but we are going to have a special guest later in the day. So let me tell you guys what's going on a little bit. If you've never logged on before to social media and never watched Vegas Views, we are an entertainment / crime / Las Vegas, Hollywood-based show. So we talk about a little bit of everything. Today, my guest is going to talk about her life. And a lot of the time on Vegas Views, that's what we do. We'll go ahead and we'll talk about people's lives and their experiences. We do give a lot of advice, but most of all, we do talk about the arts, acting and modeling, television and film. That's what I do. I own a talent agency, Rise Talent Management, that is located at 3225 South Rainbow Boulevard in Las Vegas. We are open to children, adults, teens, all different age groups. We have a ton of auditions and always have things going on. This weekend, we had a very successful audition. We were auditioning a movie called Abigail Crumb-Cake. Yes, it's a children's movie, but we had over 300 people audition. It was absolutely amazing. We were looking for a lot of little kids. And from what I've heard, we're still looking for people. So if you're interested in that and you are in the arts, please go ahead, find us on Instagram, DawnSullivan_, Rise Talent Management. You can go online, find us anywhere, and also through social medias as well. We're going to have a bunch of upcoming auditions this weekend. The International Model and Talent Association, that is going to be on Saturday the 14th. We're going to run from 10 a.m. is one audition time, and then 4 p.m. is the second audition time. And that, again, is for the International Model and Talent Association in January. We go to Los Angeles, and it is a convention for models, actors, singers, and dancers. So this one's actually really cool. I do 2 a year. I am the regional director of that. So we do New York City in June, and January, every single January, we do Los Angeles, which is very cool for our actors, our models, our singers, our dancers. If you are looking to audition for that, please have something prepared. If you're an actor, please have a monologue prepared. If you are a model, please make sure that you're able to walk a runway. Females, please bring some heels, or in some cases, males, bring some heels as well. We do not discriminate. If you are a singer, have at least 120-second song prepared. And if you're a dancer, bring your own music, but we have an entire PA system. So that's all the information I have on that for now for the audition. Yes, you have to pass through, make it through. We take only 5 or 6 years old, depending on the child and above. So no little babies. But for the other auditions that we are doing for movies, we do take children all the time. So with all that being said, myself, I had a really great week, a really cool weekend. Welcome to Tuesday. Welcome to Vegas Views. We're really excited to have you guys logging in. Like I said, I want some Q&A, guys. Interact with me. Talk to me. You guys are all over my social media on Instagram asking me a ton of questions. Well, get onto this site and ask me those questions, and then I can answer you live. So that would be actually kind of cool, because I'm kind of sitting here by myself today until my guest comes in. Okay, so ask me anything you guys want. I'll try to give you the most honest answer I can. With that being said, we're going to hit a commercial break in just a second. But before that, I just wanted to let you know that if you are looking to audition, go ahead on Instagram. Go ahead on any social media platform and site. You will find me, DawnSullivan_. And you guys help me build my TikTok. Get on my TikTok and start supporting there. Guys, we'll be right back after this message.
And welcome to the next exciting episode of
Arena War.
Fresh batch of institutionalized gladiators fighting for their freedom.
Ready, here we go.
You guys heard Perez?
I smell that.
Get back!
Those on the line. The parole board has offered you a ticket out. Win Arena Wars, win your freedom. 7 arenas with 7 of the most vicious killers the world has seen in the last decade. You make it out alive, you get to go home.
Luke Bender.
You're an innocent man.
Innocent man can mean big ratings.
I'll be watching.
I think it's time to audition Mr. Bender.
No!
What was your last physical? Cell block shower this morning. Oh, yeah.
You ready for this?
Impressive showing out there tonight. You're the new fan favorite.
Are you with me? Cutie pie back for the kill.
If you want to live through this, we have to work together.
I'm watching you.
Smile for the camera, thug life.
Wow!
It's showtime!
We have to finish this. Come on!
Doesn't sound much like rehabilitation, does it?
Got Films is a full-service production company that provides motion picture quality content and production services for use in the film and TV industry. Looking for a seasoned crew, high-quality equipment, or other production services for your film, TV, commercial, corporate convention, sports, news, or interview project? Your search stops here. Some of our projects include NASCAR, American Restoration, Pawn Stars, Counting Cars, Top Chef, BattleBots, Forge and Fire, and Street Outlaws. We have also produced over 60 feature films and documentaries. We're ready for all your needs. Whatever your project, whatever your budget, big or small, Got Films got you. GotFilms.com.
Welcome back to Vegas Views. I'm not alone anymore, guys. I have with me today Devonna Butler. She is my guest for today. Hello, Devonna. How are you?
I'm good, Dawn.
I've got to be honest with the audience real quick. I call Devonna Gina. Okay? What is her name?
Tisha Campbell.
Tisha Campbell. I believe that this woman looks so much like Tisha Campbell from the day I met her. She's heard it her whole life. I said to her, can I call you Gina? And it stuck. So I call her Gina, and then when I introduce her to people as Gina, because to me, she's Gina. So to call her Devonna is weird. But for the sake of the show, I'm going to call you Devonna today. Maybe a Gina might slip out here and there.
And it's okay.
I really appreciate you being here with us today, and I wanted to thank you. You're going to tell us your story. Okay, I love this. So, guys, Devonna/Gina has Dina, I said. Okay.
That's
Dina.
a nice little remix.
That's a nice
I like that.
remix.
I like that.
Okay. She has got a story to tell. This is super interesting. When I heard this story, my jaw dropped, and I said, you've got to be kidding me. Is this a real story you're telling me right now? And she said, this is my life. And I said, we need to share this for a number of reasons. So you guys will see. Okay, where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay.
I was born and raised, but if you know anything about the Kentucky, Indiana area, there's like a river that divides the states. And so some people live on both sides, kind of commute both sides, work that whole thing. So they call it Kentuckiana. But people
Kentuckiana. I think I've actually heard that before. Okay.
And I thought last night I heard that you guys did an event at Derby.
Yes.
Okay. You put me on that docket next time. Anyways, that's off the script.
Really?
Yes. That's where I'm from.
I did not know that.
Kentucky.
That is so wild.
Yeah, so they were talking about Derby. Anyways, back on track. So they were talking about Derby. I got so excited. I was like, no way.
Yeah. Kentucky. We did the Derby. Yeah.
Awesome. So I grew up in Kentucky and the Indiana, Kentucky area, and pretty small town. Louisville's not small, but Jeffersonville is small. And just, grew up in a house full of boys, didn't really have a lot of guidance, single parent home.
Single parent, mom or dad?
Mom.
So you have mom and brothers?
Mom and brothers.
Three brothers. Mm-hmm. Older, younger?
2 older, 1 younger.
Okay. So you're in that middle zone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Middle only girl.
Okay.
So I found myself starting to get caught up in a lot of just things, like just shit.
Okay.
Saw myself kind of, when you're this age, you don't see it until you look back.
Sure.
You don't see it until you look back. But now that I look back, I can see it clearly.
Sure.
And I saw how I began to fall off, it was around 7th grade, honestly.
Okay.
And it was a slow decline as far as just my behavior and just things like that. Meeting people as far as new friends, and meeting the people that needed to be in my life around me that were positive influences.
Sure.
I was definitely a product of my environment, which is West End Louisville.
Okay.
If you know anything about West End Louisville.
I don't. Tell me a little bit about it.
Just, a lot of crime, especially through the years. A lot of crime, a lot of violence, gang activity and things like that.
Okay. So you're a little girl.
Yeah.
About in the 7th grade.
Yeah.
This is all going on around you.
Oh,
you got a single mom and a bunch of boys around you.
Yeah.
So is there anybody to connect with in your age group? Any little friends that are good for you at the time? Any?
Not that I can remember, not that I can even think of, because I felt like we were all living the same life, but just a different address.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so powerful.
Yeah.
You're all living the same life, just a different address. You're all up in here doing what, okay.
Yeah. Parents
Gotcha.
are barely making it.
Yeah.
Most of them are on drugs.
Yeah.
The ones who are working jobs, you know, like they're fighting, trying to have a balance between raising halfway decent kids and keeping their kids out of the streets, keeping them out of jail. And that was my mom. That was my mom. She was the one in the middle where she knew that my friends weren't the best of people, but they were my neighbors, you know. So if nothing else, she knows where I am.
Yeah. So there's a safety behind that because she still knew where you were. It's not like you were totally running the streets at that point.
Right.
So you had your little friend group and stuff, but everyone's kind of in the same melting pot with everything going on.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as things started to progress, however you want to word it, but in my life, as I started to get older, of course, understanding came along.
Sure.
And so I started to understand things a little differently. I knew that I had family members that were on drugs.
Okay.
But just kind of being the only girl, and my mother was an only girl too, I looked up to her so much. So, I mean, it wasn't that she couldn't do wrong in my eyes, but I just held her to a higher standard.
Sure, of course.
So when I found out she was doing drugs, that's when the train derailed for me.
Sure. If you don't mind me asking, how did you see it? Did you hear it?
No, my mom was very discreet. She was very discreet, and she was very she was one of those people who had a lot of pride as far as she didn't want to be looked at as a drug addict.
Sure.
Because she had 4 children she was raising by herself.
Sure.
She had this good job. You know, she was hardworking. She had all these positive things going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd never understood in my child mind, my 14-year-old mind.
Yeah.
Actually, I was 13 when I found out.
Okay.
And I held it in for a long time because I didn't know if anybody else's parents were doing it. But I knew the uncles and aunties were doing it, you know.
Yeah.
But as far as my friends and their parents, I didn't know. And I was ashamed.
Of course.
I was like, there's no way this is happening. There's no way. There's just no way. But I saw it for myself. I found it. I never saw her doing it to this day. Never saw her doing it.
You found it in your home?
I found it and I knew. So I was like, okay. And just emotionally, I just withered away. It was like something unraveling right before your eyes. But I was also the type of person who, if I trust you until I don't trust you. And I guess that was even with my mother. So it came to a part where I didn't trust her anymore, so that's where I started running away.
Did you ever confront her and let her know, hey, Mom, I found this, what's up?
Not until I was 21.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you're embarrassed.
I was
don't
embarrassed, but the pride.
Yeah.
It was
I can see that, absolutely. That's hard. And then it's like the one you trust so much is your mom, and that's a secret almost that you have with yourself at that point. So
and I felt like I had to guard that secret for her.
Yeah.
I didn't want people in the neighborhood judging her because of all these good things. You know, I was smart enough to know at that age, my mom's not completely a bad person, but she's let me down. But I'm gonna protect her secret.
Now, do your brothers know at this point, or they're clueless? Do they know, or you?
They know.
They know.
Yeah, they know, but they didn't communicate that with me or the little brother. They just kind of kept that between themselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So this kind of pulls you out of your little girl mind frame of I love my mom, and I mean, I'm sure you love your mom, but this is safe. It kind of a sense of lack of safety, I would say.
It felt like betrayal. Let's call a spade a spade.
Sure.
It felt like betrayal. Even as a little girl, because I was just here was the reality of it. Everybody expected so much from me.
Sure.
As the daughter, as the sister, as the girl in the family. Yeah. So when the boys messed it up, I had to clean it up.
Sure.
If the boys didn't have clean laundry,
you were gonna
Mom would ask me to throw the load in, get it out, fold it.
Yeah.
And I dare not say things like, well, he's not doing nothing, why can't he do it?
Right.
That was not that time.
Right.
You
so did what you were told to do.
I did what I
you
was told to do.
Yeah.
So once I found that out, I was just like, I'm out of here. I'm not doing nothing else. I'm like, for what? What is it for?
Yeah.
But that was definitely the wrong attitude to take towards the situation. I learned in the hardships of all of it that at the end of the day, you know, people make mistakes and people make bad decisions based on their reality.
Absolutely.
Sometimes hindsight doesn't see past what's going on, and unfortunately my childlike brain could not see past the fact that she was on drugs. And a lot of times it was like, forget all the good stuff she's done, you know,
Look at what
look what she's doing right now. So but later down the road, once we sat down and talked about it, because there were years where we just pretended like there was nothing going on except my anger. So, you know, everybody would let me get angry and like spaz out because they knew why. Instead of like, you know, okay, let's all get help.
Right.
Let's all get
Let's
help.
address this and get help. But it was like, excuse me, Gina's gonna go and do what,
Well, she let her do it. You know, not so much as let her do it, but she's upset. Let her cool off. And that cooling off would be me running away for 3 and 4 days. You know, and then after about, I'll say about 14, I just left whenever
you wanted.
Whenever I wanted.
So I guess from your mom's perspective too, it was like, she's just out. She must have been, there's got to be a part of her that was terrified though. What is happening here? Because it's like when a boy leaves, that's one thing, but your little girl, there's so much more. Does that make sense?
For sure. I did ask her, I was like, what, like, why did you just let me go like that? Like, why did you just let me run away like that? And she said, because I felt like at some point you would come back. Like you would just kind of get over what you were going through and you would come back. And she goes, and then that one day you never came back.
You want to tell us about that?
So 14 was a complicated age for me because my mom was trying to put me back in position to get back on track with school and my grades and everything. And I had kind of come to grips with reality. Like, it is what it is, you know, like it's been about 2 years now and she still has her job, you know, like she's still taking care of everything. I'm growing up. Now I'm starting to look for a job. But then my brothers go towards the streets too. So I'm like, well, all right, I ain't stupid. Like I made $36 on my check and he's over here still counting his money. How does that work? So I'm like, I don't want to do this the way I'm doing it. This ain't the right way. That's the right way, obviously.
For me,
So more and more I'm going towards the streets. Well, I wasn't in the streets in the beginning, but I wasn't completely doing the right thing. So from stealing candy, it went to me and my friends hanging out on a daily, stealing bikes.
Now let me ask you, at this point for you guys, you're young. Is there any drug use, alcohol use, anything like that for you kids?
There was marijuana use, but not a lot of alcohol use. Not a lot of alcohol use, but a lot of marijuana use.
So smoking weed.
Yeah, smoking weed was the thing.
But no hard drugs. You're not doing anything crazy.
No. So I'm gonna kind of fast forward. So my mom put me and my other brother back in school in Indiana. So she was having to commute across the bridge every day, twice a day, to pick us up from school and drop us off at school. I was still kind of getting in trouble.
Was that for protection of you guys? Why did
she was trying to protect us?
Was that a better environment in the schools over there?
Yes.
Okay, so she got you to a better environment. Okay.
Yeah. So she was trying to put us in a better environment because I had started fighting in school. But I was going to school over in Louisville. But my brother, he was already back in school in Indiana because he had a very lucrative basketball career.
Very nice.
So he went back to school over in Indiana, and then she was like, well, do your freshman year in Louisville. See how you like it. If you like it, you can stay. If you don't like it, because I plan to move back to Indiana. So I'm just trying to get y'all situated before the move. Sounded good to me. So I was like, when I decided to go back, I went my sophomore year to Indiana. I felt safer. My brother was there, you know. and then my older brother had graduated from there. So I felt more like, okay, maybe I can't get a new start here, because I was starting to get in trouble over in Louisville.
Little things.
Yeah, little things.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, I do need a reset.
Mm-hmm.
So I started my 10th grade year over in Indiana. And I don't know what it was, but I just could not get on the right foot over in this school. Like, it was something all the time. And I just felt like my brother, he was their basketball star. So they swept a lot of his bull under the rug.
Of course.
And I'm like, yo, literally made me go to detention because we were late. I can't tell you that we were driving from Louisville, from a whole nother state. But, brother's at home goofing. Oh, I'm like taking his time, because he knows they're just going to give him a warning.
Yeah.
But he doesn't realize that my teacher is fed up with the tardies, and he's like taking action.
Yeah.
So that's where the in-school suspension started. Okay. And they were just minor and not even really behavioral. Mm-hmm. So those built up, and then I ended up getting expelled. So I got expelled for having too many tardies. Once I had to go to alternative school to finish out my 10th grade year, which was before Christmas. So I only made it through about 2 months.
Let me ask you, so it's almost like you're really in your nature. You're a good kid. You're a good little girl. You find out your mom's using stuff that you're now like, Mom, you messed me up because I had faith in you. Now things are starting to get a little better, but because of something completely out of your control, because the tardiness had nothing to do with you. You were not driving yourself there. That had nothing to do with you. You can't say, hey, I'm traveling this whole way, so you're getting in trouble, almost creating a label on you.
Yep.
She's late, she's not a good kid, she's a bad kid, but you are still this good little kid that's just got some shit in your head.
Yeah.
You just got some stuff going on up here that could have easily, if it was, not to put it back on the school or anything like that, but if someone said, hey, what's going on with this little one? You're still a child. How old are you at this point?
14.
Baby girl. Still a little girl. You were born 14 years ago. That's
right.
So if someone would have stepped in there and said, hey, something's not right with her, what's going on? Let's kind of see where this anger's at, what's going on with her being late. Let's try to fix this right there. But instead, a label was smacked on you.
And as far as the anger, I didn't really display it outside of the home.
Okay.
I was happy to be away from home. So
sure.
I really didn't run into situations where I was angry a lot.
Okay.
So the school didn't really see that side of me.
Okay, that part. Yeah.
They just saw the tardy kid.
Okay.
Who doesn't seem to take things seriously.
Yeah.
But she's here. She seems normal.
Yeah.
But she's always late. Like, what's up with that?
Yeah.
So, like you said, it was out of my control.
Yeah.
So then trying to argue with my brother and my mom, like, he makes me late all the time. Like, you don't understand.
Yeah.
And then she's like, they're definitely not suspending you for that. And I'm like, Mom, they are. So speed up a little bit. I get expelled. And so I go to an alternative school and I meet all these great friends who have already been expelled from school. Yeah. Some of them I already knew. My co-defendant I already knew. From December to May, sped through that, got all my credits. They're like, you don't belong here. Why are you here? Mm-hmm. And so we were trying to get me back into regular high school.
Sure.
My mom took me up there and she was like, are you going to do it this year? And I'm trying not to get smart with her. I'm like, I was doing it last year, but it wasn't my fault. So I was just like, I know what I got to do. I just got to almost just put blinders on at home, put blinders on at school, and just walk straight. I never made it to the 11th grade. We went into the school that day. They did say that they were going to allow me to come back to the school. Mm-hmm. So I was excited about that. And then it was just an exciting day. I remember Mama coming home and she's like, you want to go look for a house with me over in Indiana? I'm like, yeah, like that means, well, at the time we lived with my grandparents. Mm-hmm. I don't know if anybody knows what that's like, but when they have more than one kid, any of their kids can come home at any point in time, and that kind of happened. So we weren't always there by ourselves, even though it was 5 of us. Yeah. Sometimes my uncles would come and they all had kids. Mm-hmm. So it was just that type of thing. So when she said that, I was like,
our own place.
Yes.
Let's go. Yeah.
Heck yes. It's been about 2 years since we've had our own place. So we got in the car. We're riding around Indiana. We're just having a great day. Like, probably the best day that I could literally ever remember having with my mother. And it was just one of those things where I was able to talk to her, not about too much, but just, talk to her without her crashing out, or without me getting mad because she said something, to offend me or just anything. And another weird thing I remember is that she picked up my dad, which I hadn't even seen him in a year. Just drug addiction and things like that. He wasn't around. So she picked him up, found out that he was in rehab. The day just got better and better and better and better as it went on. I'm like,
great. Yeah.
Like, okay, all right. My brother had just had a baby. So we're going to the hospital to go see the baby. It was the perfect day. So my friend calls me and she's like, see if your mama drop you off at my house. I used to get dropped off at my friends' houses in Indiana all the time. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary. So I was like, I'll have to ask her when she comes back. So I asked her, mom was like, you'll have to ask somebody else to do it because I'm tired. She had just got off work and she had been running all morning.
Sure.
All morning doing all these things. And so, long story short, my mom takes me back to Louisville. My grandfather takes me back to Jeffersonville because my brother had basketball practice, so he had to be picked up. So I just kind of calculated in my head, when can I get dropped back off? So I went back over to Jeff with my grandfather. He drops me off. And not even 15 minutes into me being in Indiana, my case happens. Yeah, my case happens.
Let's talk about that for a second. Now, before we move forward, because you're giving us a really great picture now. You're building a picture where we can all understand what's about to happen here. If you don't mind me asking, with your mom's drug use, what type of drugs, do you know what type of drugs they were that she was using?
It was crack.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was crack.
Yeah.
Okay. You never really saw her acting as if she was on crack. It was just something you found. So there's also a psychology behind that. There's maybe like a mystery of like, when is she doing it? Like, it's here. Like, what's going right? So I'm sure there was some confusion in your little brain too, because you were a kid at this point.
Yeah.
So you're not only a little offended by what's happening with her, you're confused too.
Yeah.
So you're going into all this kind of confused.
Yeah.
Okay.
Super confused.
Super confused.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're at your friend's house. You get there. You're back at your friend's house. What happens?
So it's three of us there, and it's three of us there, and the plan comes up that we're gonna leave the state. Well, how are we gonna leave the state? We need a car. How are we gonna get a car? We have to take a car. Well, how does that happen? Well, the fastest way to do it is to rob a pizza man. He brings his car, he leaves his car, and that's the fastest way.
No consequence
in our little
for
minds.
you.
Yeah, if that's
in
what
your
we're
little
thinking.
Minds, in consequence for you, did you think, oh, all right, well, just need the car, so let's get the car. I mean, you're a kid.
I had never been in trouble with the law before.
Right.
So I didn't know.
You didn't know.
Like, I was just like, I know there's a girls' school, and I know people go to girls' school for stealing cars and stuff, so that's probably the worst that could happen.
Yeah.
The worst. That was not the worst. We were 4 months later. It happened May 27th of 1997.
So tell me what happens. Are we allowed to talk?
Yeah,
about
yeah,
what
we can
happens?
talk.
And just so you guys know, here in our audience, we will be, she does have a documentary in the works right now, and we will be giving you guys updates and stuff like that. So we're going to tell you the story for the most part, but you're going to see a lot in the documentary. You're going to see everything from detailed evidence, all that kind of stuff in this amazing, amazing, incredible story. You're so strong, by the way. So this happens.
Yeah.
You guys call them. Can you talk about that? Are we allowed to talk about that?
Yeah,
Okay.
we can talk about it. So we call them, and I'm like in the bathroom, and the pizza gets ordered or whatever, and like normal, like it's just a normal day for a pizza man. Well, not on this day. We needed to get away, and not in that sense, but in a child's mind, you know how children are, just they need what they need right now.
When they need it.
When they need it.
Absolutely.
So at the time I was 15. My co-defendants were 17 and 14. So I won't give the details of what happened in the crime. That'll be in the documentary. But he initially was stabbed 4 times.
Okay.
And so we weren't arrested until the next day because we went on the run. We ended up taking this car, but nobody knew how to drive.
Okay.
So
You guys were
it's like
so
just
young,
so young, so
Now
I'll
let
call
me
it
ask
dumb.
you, did he live?
He did live.
Okay.
He did live. Thank God he did live. That was the scary part. I don't really know the circumstances of what happened in the hospital, but in the paperwork, it was very descriptive and very traumatizing for.
Before you say that, we've got to take a 2-minute break. We're going to take a 2-minute break, and when we come back, we're going to hear the rest of the story here, guys. This is intense. If you're just logging in right now, I have a guest here who is discussing a crime that she had committed when she was a very, very young person, and here she is today to tell the aftermath and the truth about the story and what that looks like, and especially maybe some advice to young people. And we'll be right back. Thank you for tuning into Vegas Views always. Telling me some really, really intense stuff. So
traditional TV is going away. Hollywood is starting to fade. People are demanding real stories from real people. Our voices are now being heard in our own way. Podcasts, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok Live are becoming the norm. Internet TV has now reached the highest demand in human history. Social media shows is now the new media of the century.
Hi, I'm Deacon T with Modern Word Ministries. It's great to be with you today. Just a short little promo for our show. Every Sunday morning we have service, and you can follow us at 10 a.m. Pacific Time on modernwordministries.org. And if you missed us or you want to see some of our older messages, go ahead and check us out on socialmediashows.com every single morning at 9 a.m. It's a great way to kick off your day, get a little bit of the word in you, get something uplifting, get you started off on your way. You know, if you're looking for prayer or you need some help, reach out to us. If you go to our website, again, that's modernwordministries.org, you can interact with me via telephone, via DM, text message, whatever you want. I'll get right back to you. So if you need prayer, you need help, you just need somebody to talk to, Modern Word Ministries is here for you. We are your church in the community. So until you see you next time, be blessed, everybody. Bye-bye.
Nerves were so shot. Like, I was just so, what even just, I don't know, like, I need my parents. So we ended up calling our parents from the gas station. We knew that we were on the run. We were on the news.
I was just going to say,
yeah,
so did
it was a worldwide
mom
case.
knew something was going on? You were sentenced to 60.
60.
And they tried you as an adult.
Mm-hmm. So when they tried us, as adults, so that happens before you go to trial.
Sure.
I'm learning all of this stuff as I'm going.
Yeah.
Each day is a new day in the court system.
Sure.
In this situation, and I just remember feeling like after a few months, I couldn't trust anybody. Like, I just couldn't trust anybody because this is my first time being in a situation like this. They're sending in mental health doctors. They're sending in everybody to come and talk to us.
No, you're not out on bail. You're in jail.
No, they would not let us out on
bail. Okay.
There was a bail, but our families couldn't afford it.
Do you remember at the time how much that bail was?
I want to say $500,000.
Okay.
Cash.
Okay.
And so I know my family had already put the house up to get an attorney.
Sure.
Which was my grandparents' house to get an attorney. So I was the only one with a paid attorney. I don't really know how to say it, but like, basically laws were broken.
Sure.
As far as the juvenile offenders' rights and just being protected from adults. So even if it was consensual, it still was not legally consensual.
Understood.
So say I'm 14, you're 40.
Yeah.
I don't care. You don't care. We get together.
Yeah.
I get mad at you, technically I can sue
turn
the
it
state.
around.
I can turn it around.
Absolutely.
Regardless of how much I loved you in the beginning. So that was what they were up against once we got there. And we felt that when we got there, because it was basically like we were in detention because they didn't know what to do with us.
Sure.
And it wasn't, I mean, it was a bad thing because of how we had to do the time in the beginning.
Yeah.
But once they got it situated and they started transferring staff from the girls' school over to the prison so that they could learn and they could actually have a dorm to house youthful offenders that couldn't go to the girls' school.
So how long were you there for?
I was at that prison for 12 years.
So
roughly.
you grew up there?
Oh, yeah.
You grew up in a prison in the United States?
Yeah, easily. And had to fight my way out of it. So I'm still supposed to be there today. I wasn't supposed to get out until I was 45.
Let's talk about that in just a second, but you growing up in a prison, what does that look like academically? Do they push education on you at all being a younger person?
Absolutely.
So
it's the law.
It is the law
it's
there?
The law.
I did not know that.
It's the law.
So you have to?
Yeah.
So did you get a GED or a high school diploma or?
I got my GED, I got my cosmetology license, and I got my associate's and bachelor's degree.
This is all in prison?
All in prison.
Do you guys hear this?
Yeah.
Do you guys hear this? This is where I think as American people, in America, we don't think that this is happening in a system. It probably was not easy at all. You probably are extremely strong and had to fight every single day emotionally to get up and want to better yourself when you're being locked away.
Yeah.
Freedoms. Tell me about this. What type of freedoms did you have growing up?
In the prison?
In the prison.
So we had open population. We were allowed to do the things that open population can do. So we had rec. We had the prison that I was in actually was the first women's prison in America.
Wow.
And you can look it up. It was called Indiana Women's Prison, and it was the first women's prison in America.
Wow.
So because of that, there wasn't a lot of upgrades really. And what I mean by that is there wasn't a lot of surveillance. Okay. There wasn't a lot of, we had 2 gates, but we were in the middle of the city. So to stay at this prison, it was almost like, you had to have good behavior. It was a maximum security, so you were not allowed to go anywhere else if you were if you were serving a maximum sentence. So, anything 25 and above.
Sure.
So me going to any other prison was never really, unless it was a behavior thing. Now, it got to a point where that prison wasn't big enough to house everything and everybody that was coming in anymore. So the last year that I was serving my time, they changed the girls' school into the women's prison, and then the women's prison turned it to the men's work release, which all along it probably should have been that because the security level was just mediocre.
Okay.
For as far as maximum security,
yeah,
it was not maximum security, but because as women, we kind of enjoyed having our privileges of being able to see people outside of the gate, normal people.
Yeah.
Instead of seeing fields and fields of nothing.
Yeah.
So it was like the smallest things in the world we understood was a privilege. So we were able to kind of transfer that over to the girls' school, but not a lot. Once we got over to the girls' school, it was prison. The doors was locking behind you. There was a life for dorm. Like, that made doing time really hard. And that's where I started to feel like my mental was...
Let's talk about depression and anxiety in there. Was there an automatic anxiety for you as a young person? Like, holy shit, I'm here, I'm locked away. What does this mean for me? And this is, did you take it day by day, or were you looking at the big picture like, I'm going to grow up in this place?
It was different because once I got in there and I started to see like, oh, you're here for this? Oh, you're here for that? And their sentences weren't making sense to me. I'm like, but I didn't even kill nobody and I have 60 years. Like, how does that make sense? But that made me want to look into my case. I had never actually read my case because going through trial and everything, I didn't black out, but mentally it was like blacking out.
Oh yeah.
Like walking up to that courtroom, I don't remember it, but I know it happened.
Yeah.
I just, at 15 years old, and you got cameras, flashlights, like literally, like the paparazzi.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea the magnitude of what I had done.
And from a psychological standpoint, your brain is protecting itself. It's taking you out of there. You're not going to retain anything. You're not going to feel anything or even know anything. Your brain is like, oh, shut off mode. This shit is scary, huh?
Yeah.
You're a kid. You don't know how to process that. I don't think people realize this too. When we say, oh, that's just a kid, they don't understand yet, or oh, that's just a kid. It is proven that people of certain ages cannot understand and retain specific information.
Our case is the reason why that information became public.
Yeah.
Our case is the reason why, because after our trial, so the reason that we got tried as adults is because we looked like adults.
Yeah.
So the scientists had to step in once trial has started, because it was actually in preparation of going back in front of the judge with our new attorneys.
Okay.
Yeah. They did research, and it was like, there's no way that they could have even had been able to process consequence. Sure. Their brain was not developed.
It's not developed enough to know. Yeah.
I started to read through my paperwork, through my case. And I was like, once I finish school, I'm just going to dedicate myself to trying to get out, or at least trying to get this in front of somebody, because I don't know what's not right about it, but something's not right. Mm-hmm. And then always trying to protect my victim, even though, like, victim mentality, like, is what it is, and you can't rush a person to forgive, and you can't force a person to forgive. So I still stand here today, waiting for a conversation, if nothing else, just the opportunity to tell him I'm sorry.
Since you have been out, have you had any kind of contact with him at all, and are you allowed to have contact with him?
Once I got out, honestly, I was so worried about, like, not going back, and not
I can see that,
not making the mistakes that I made before based off of emotion, and just trying to get caught up. Not caught up in that sense, but just caught up as far as, like, I look at my peers and they, like, have families and homes and cars, and I don't even know how to drive a car getting out, like, so it was things like that almost made me a little delusional, because I felt like I had to hurry up. But in reality, I had done a lot of things to keep me on pace.
So when you were in there, was there almost ever a part of you where it was home and you were comfortable there? Because you ended up spending more time there than you did living. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
That is so sad to me. That hurts my heart so much, because I'm picturing you as a little girl, and you live this long, you have your life, whatever that was, good or bad, and then you're in a jail system growing up there, and that's all you know. And then what you remember of the outside world probably wasn't that amazing. So did you know, hey, or ever have the thought, hey, if I ever get out of here, my life is going to look like? Did you ever do that? Did you ever try?
I did. Okay. I did. Only because I didn't know, like, that it could look like that.
Sure.
Because I didn't have the past experiences to prove that to myself. But I had started reading The Law of Attraction. Okay. That came out while I was there.
I love that for you. That is so cool.
That came out while I was there. So I started reading that book, and I was like, so all I have to do is believe. And all I have to do is just know that I'm good enough for this to happen to, and just live my life every day. Because I had been living my life like I was spooked. After trial and everything, you don't have to worry about me no more. Actually, there was a point where me and my co-defendant, like, and we were so close. Like, we made a pact, like, we're not gonna leave each other during this. Like, we're gonna be there for each other, because the other girl, had done what she done. But it got to a point where I'm like, I don't think we want the same things, like, at the same pace. And then she was younger than me too. So I just, once that door closed, I was done.
How long did she stay in jail with you for? You guys were in the same space.
We went in the same day, we came out the same day. Yep. Yep.
You were in jail with your friend this entire time.
Yep. We never got separated. We never, like, and that's uncommon because the first thing they try to do is separate co-defendants. That's the first thing they try to do. But we sat on trial together. Like, it was to the point where if they said Shackelford, they knew McDonald was, it wasn't that I was following, but they just had us so close together. And so.
Is there any part of you psychologically that was helpful? That you were never, I mean, you were alone, obviously, in your own mind, your own thoughts, but was it helpful at all to have her there?
Yeah. I always felt in the back of my mind there was somebody who understood me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like
what you were going through.
Yeah, and I didn't have to explain me to them, and they didn't have to explain themselves to me either.
Was she a good girl like you?
No.
Okay. So you were yeah. She was not. She just. Yeah.
She was fun.
Yeah.
She was fun, and she knew how to throw all caution to the wind.
Okay.
You know, whereas I'm like worried if my mom's gonna whip my ass.
Yeah. She's like, I'm gonna get in trouble for this one. You know,
she ain't gonna kill you. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like, we had started to slowly get into more trouble together, and her parents were so forgiving.
What about personality in jail? Was she still that way?
Oh, she's a Leo. She was the life of the party.
Okay.
I'm the Virgo.
Yeah.
So
you're
I'm like,
the reserved friend that's kind of more logical and chill.
Like,
yeah.
Why are you doing that? You know, you get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
So, but after a while, it was like, I was so low key and I can say this now. I was so low key and good with all the officers that they never suspected me. So I was able to be sneaky, but it took years of building up trust with them for them to never suspect me to do anything. Because they was like, Shackelford did it. We know McDonald didn't do it. Shackelford did it. And there were times where it wasn't that way, you know? But after she started college, that's where I started to see her grow. But it took her a while because she was just, I don't want to say she was having fun.
Yeah.
But she was 14. You know what I mean? Not that I wasn't 15, but it was just different. Like, life was always about having fun for her.
Yeah.
But for me, life was kind of like, I need to get serious.
Yeah. So let me ask you. So you're in there, you're getting older, your brain is developing at this point, you're starting to see things a little bit, maybe a lot more clearly to, wait, I'm in here and something doesn't feel right. All these other cases are like mine seems drastic, 60 years and the gentleman is still alive and having nothing to do with him and the crime that you've done, but in your mind you're like, you know you probably should not be sitting in this prison. How did you start taking action to get out?
I love that question. This is my favorite question, by the way, too. I wrote Johnny Cochran.
Johnny Cochran.
I wrote Johnny Cochran.
Huge fan of Johnny.
I can't remember what year it was, but I want to say it was like 2003, maybe. And I wrote him this long letter because I can't leave out this human in my life. She was the person that they sent over from girls' school to help build up the youthful offender dorm. Okay. So she was over that dorm from the time I was 17 to the time I was about 24. Okay. And that's Mama Tina. That's Mama Tina. She don't play. But she always, her mentality was, one day y'all will get out and you could be my neighbor. So if that's going to be the case, you're going to get out on the right foot. And she lived by that.
Mama Tina. If you're at Mama Tina, if you ever see this, if you're watching, I love that. You might be my neighbor. We got to get you on the right foot.
Yeah,
I love that.
You could be my neighbor because she lived in Indianapolis and she lived like, and she was like, it's a possibility that I could see y'all out there. You know, like I see y'all out there all the time. Like a lot of the young girls that were from Indianapolis, they get out, go back into the city. They see her at Kroger. They, you know, so it was very much a possibility to get out and see Mama Tina.
Yeah.
And so I just remember her saying that, and with her being my mama, I can say she showed favoritism. She wasn't my mother, but it was something about the relationship that we developed through the years that let me know that I can trust this woman.
Yeah.
And I wasn't like that with guards, people.
I'm sure.
No.
Yeah.
But something about her guaranteed, like, she would put us in lock, write us up, and then come up there, talk to us, and bring us down with her.
Yeah.
Like, nobody else even had the power to do that or the compassion. It's like, if you did something wrong, you need to go do your time up in lock, and then when you're done in lock, come back down, and if you get it right, cool. If not, you'll go back. But her thing was rehabilitation. From the day she stepped into that place.
True rehabilitation.
And not just, like, she was bringing in doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists from Northern Indiana, Gary, Indiana, like, to come in and have mandatory groups with that. That was another thing about her dorm. Her dorm was different because we had mandatory groups, mandatory counseling, mandatory therapy. The adults, open population, it was a choice. You do what you want to do. You can sleep through all 60 years if you want to.
Yeah.
But the youthful offenders have to have a plan, because even the ones that have life probably won't serve life.
Yeah.
Depending on what they did.
Yeah.
So she always made me feel like there was hope for me. And she was the only person with authority who constantly made me feel like there was hope for me.
When did you know, like, this is working, I'm getting out of here?
I had one of those prosecutors. We had one of those prosecutors who was not trying to let us out for anything. Like, and you can go back through our case.
Where
our case is very much public. It was personal.
Mm-hmm.
So he fought us all the way up to the Supreme Court on, so what happened was, after trial happened, a PCR happens. So they give you the opportunity to have another trial. If you think there was something wrong, you can raise those issues. Sure. If your lawyer knows, you can raise those issues and have another trial. So in this time, my lawyer stepped off of the case. We couldn't afford to pay him anymore.
Sure.
So, and then I had got the same time as the girl who had the public defender. So what do I need a lawyer for?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking in my mind. Like, why is my family coming out of this money and there's no difference? So the attorney that took my case, it was called a post-conviction relief attorney. Her name was Vicky Carmichael, and my co-defendant's PCR attorney, his name was Lonnie Cooper. We end up losing the PCR case. We don't get a retrial or whatever. So Vicky Carmichael, I just remember her being so nice to me. People weren't always nice to me. I'm a criminal. You know what I mean? Even though I'm a kid, a lot of people still look at me first and foremost as a criminal. So she was just like, I don't think what happened to you guys was right. I know you did something wrong, but I don't think what happened to you guys was right, and I just wish you the best of luck. And that was the last time I ever seen her. Fast forward 10 years later, she's the judge on my case.
With that being said, we're going to take a 2-minute break. That is incredible. She ends up being the judge on your case.
She has to recuse herself, but
guys,
still.
You want to tune right back into this. We're getting to the good stuff. Vegas Views. We'll be back in just a moment.
Hello everybody, I am Nelia Ross. I want to invite you to join my new variety TV show, Las Vegas Live with Nelia Ross, every Saturday morning at 12 p.m. on socialmediashows.com. Experience music, entertainment, and culture with local artists, celebrities, movie directors, magicians, comedians, dancers, and so much more. But that's not all. Our special segment, Bella Italia, will take you on a musical journey through Italy. And the best part is that now you can watch us from anywhere in the world thanks to the streaming. Email us at neliaross.official@gmail.com to be our guest or sponsor. Tune in every Saturday morning at 12 p.m. and get ready for the ultimate Las Vegas experience. Un bacio da Nelia Ross. Ciao!
Traditional TV is going away. Hollywood is starting to fade. People are demanding real stories from real people. Our voices are now being heard in our own way. Podcasts, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok Live are becoming the norm. Internet TV has now reached the highest demand in human history. Social media shows is now the new media of the century.
Vegas Views, Dawn Sullivan. My wonderful guest today has such an incredible story that she's sharing, and what we were going to do is wrap this up real quick, but what we're not. We're going to be continued next week. So we're going to have you back on if that's okay with you, and we're going to talk about you obviously integrating back into society, how you got out, what that looked like, all of those challenges, and your life today, because you have a beautiful, spectacular life. And you look so young. I know this is a weird question. When you were in there, were you outside a lot, physically outside?
Yes.
They did let you outside?
Yes.
Because I'm thinking, it looks like your skin has not been tarnished by the sun at all. So I'm thinking maybe that's why she looks so young, because you went in as a kid, something preserved you, because you look so super
brother
young.
jokes. He goes, sis, you were preserved. It's not fair. You were preserved. I'm like,
I think there's something.
Everything you said, my mental. The mental, that's where the age is.
Yeah. I want to thank you for being here today and sharing. I know this cannot be easy. This is your life. This is your truth. Guys, if you have a story to tell, please get in touch with us, and we will absolutely consider putting you on the show and telling you the story. But next week, I'm excited to hear. Guys, tune back in. One, how she got out, because this is incredible. Because you were supposed to do 60 years. You were out in how many?
13.
She was out in 13 years. Sentenced to 60, out in 13 years. Good time. Good behavior. I would take it. Yeah. You always had good behavior in the system.
The good behavior was there, and I always thought that would be how I got out. But the whole time, that's not how.
That's not even how she got out, guys. Tune back in next week to find out how she got out. And then, to me, the most fascinating thing about all of this is, how would you be raised in a jail prison system and then integrate back into life so beautifully? Because what I know of you today, you are like,
you make me cry.
Oh, don't cry. But you know, before when you were talking about that other lady and then Mama Tina and then this one, she goes, I have favorites from meeting you. I was like, oh, there's my girl there. I call her Gina. She actually, I'll give you a little bit about her now. We'll talk about next week, her integrating back into life and this and that. But she is now acting and modeling and doing television and film, auditioning for movies. So she is not done with life. She maybe had this unfortunate situation in her youth and being held in a prison system for so long. But she's not wasting any time. She's out here doing her thing. She's a phenomenal model, a phenomenal actress. So it is really exciting and fun to watch you. It's very, very cool. There's a level of you that comes with no fear. And I watch it when you do act and when you do model, and everyone says it, like, especially our other acting coaches and everyone.
So you are like the fly on the wall in there. You're paying attention.
Oh, I film everything. I'm watching you guys. Yeah, I'm watching. Oh, yeah.
She comes in, she comes past. I'm like, Dawn ain't paying attention. She's busy.
Oh, yeah, I already know. And then I check with them. How's she doing? How's Gina doing? And you're fearless. And there's probably a reason behind you being fearless is you have gone through so much to just get here, and you're in an incredible spot, because I don't know. They want to know so bad what you're doing with your life, but you will find out next week. But I really, truly want to know, how did you get that strength and courage to get out and say, I'm making a beautiful life? Because you have one. You have beautiful humans around you. You are a beautiful person. You are doing healthy, lovely things. And I don't know how we can do this, but I think you need to speak to every single person that's been in jail or young people or someone, and let them know this. If this can be the outcome, they have something to look forward to. They can do this. They can get out and they can do the right thing.
They can reach out to me on Instagram.
Yes, please. Let your camera know right there how everybody can get in touch.
You guys can reach out to me on Instagram if you have any questions, or if you just want to talk or chat, if you did time and, or if you're interested in modeling or acting, go to my girl. But seriously, if you want to get in touch with me, ask me anything, my main contact information is Instagram.
Okay, and how do they get in touch with you? What is your Instagram handle?
It's Devonna, like 6 or 7 A's. I think seven A's. And my last name is Butler, Devonna Butler.
Devonna with 6 or 7 A's, Butler on Instagram. Another way, Dawn Sullivan _. You can literally throw me a DM and say, hey, hook me up with Devonna or AKA Gina. Hook me up and I will get you right to her if you want to do it that way as well. Guys, auditions, because we're going to be closing out the show now. Auditions, Rise Talent group page on Facebook. I just put a load of stuff up there. Our Instagram page, go to the website, www.risetalentmanagement.com. Stop by the studio. studio, 3225 South Rainbow Boulevard. This Saturday coming up, the 14th, 10 a.m., 4 p.m., 2 time slots. That's it. You come in at 10 in the morning and you do the afternoon one at 4, and that one is for the International Model and Talent Association. You must be able to travel in January, on January 6th to January, I believe, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th to the 12th. Coming home on the 13th. It's a 7-day trip. So the 6th to the 13th in January. We have so many exciting things going on. We are still casting Abigail Crumbcake. It's a kids movie. And we are going to be doing a brand new movie. I'm not allowed to release the name yet. Most likely it'll be the weekend after that. The minute I get the okay on releasing the name, I will do that. Guys, always pop onto social media shows. Tag, put us in your story. Go ahead and help support local small businesses. And make sure to always do the right thing by people, guys. Hear somebody's story, listen to someone, and never ever live a day in your life without compassion for other people. We are nothing without each other. Thank you for tuning into Vegas Views, and I'll see you next week. And I'll have my girl back next week to tell us the rest of her incredible story.